Hello, it's Samantha again, and here I am in the exact same place that I filmed my last video wearing the exact same thing. Wow, weird how that works. It's like it's the same day or something. Okay, so today I wanted to make this video called Why I Don't Listen to My Doctors, because I get so many comments on the internet talking about why don't you listen to your doctor? Like, why do you just like think that you're your own doctor and just like make things up? And it's like really funny when people say that, because I'm just like, I'm not, but I am, but I'm not. So one thing that I would like to say on here is that by sharing my journey, a hope that I have is to explain and to show how complex it really is, the whole cancer process. And I don't think that other cancer YouTubers do this as much as I do, and maybe that's why I get kind of so much hate for like going against medical advice, because I think probably what other cancer YouTubers do more, because there's other people on YouTube that share their cancer story, obviously. I think what they do more is, you know, they come up with their treatment option and then they explain it to you and they say, oh, I have cancer, this is what I'm doing. And everyone's like, oh, that's so great that you're going through treatment. And that's great. And I don't have any problem with people who do that. Obviously, like, they can share their story however they want. They do not have to share as much information as I do. But one thing that I like to do is share both sides and kind of explain one option and the other option, because do you know how many options there are? There are so many options. And so when I do that, I think it tends to make people be like, well, why aren't you listening to what this one doctor said? And it's because if I listen to what this one doctor said, it contradicts what another doctor said, because there's that many different options of things that work. So it makes it look, when people don't share both options, it makes them look like they're just doing the one thing that's gonna make them stay alive. And it's never my goal on here to make videos to get sympathy or to make anyone think that I'm some innocent poor person going through cancer, and I don't want comments like that. I like to share the thought processes that I have and the ways that I make decisions. And I actually, believe it or not, like it when there's discussion on my channel about, some people are like, oh, well, if I had those two options, I would do this. And when I post a video, I get two sides. I get a bunch of people who are like, oh my gosh, like, obviously everything that you're doing makes perfect sense. I would do that. Don't listen to anyone who says otherwise. And then I get people on the other side that are like, oh my gosh, you're such an idiot. Why are you doing what you're doing? And that basically makes me feel like I did my job right, because it shows that I explain both sides, and it kind of makes people think for themselves what they would pick. And it's okay to not agree completely with another person's decision. The thing that kind of annoys me is when people criticize my decision, because like, I would never criticize anyone for making whatever decision they want to make, you know, like, it's okay if you don't agree with me and you would want to do something the complete opposite way as I would like to, but that doesn't mean that I think what you're doing is wrong, because what you're doing could be the exact right thing for you, and what I'm doing could be the exact right thing for me. So I actually do like having discussion in my comments section like that, as long as it's respectful and not like people yelling at each other, because obviously that's never great. And so it means that I'm constantly explaining different treatment options and the pluses and minuses of each, because I want to show you how hard it is to make these decisions and what thought process goes through my mind. And I'm really just trying to help people that are in the same situation as me. I'm not out here trying to just get sympathy from people. It doesn't do it for me. If all the comments that I was getting on here were, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this, I wouldn't be making these videos. What does it for me is the people that comment and they say, oh my gosh, you're helping me so much, because I felt like I was alone, and listening to you, I see like there's another young person that has cancer, or, you know, whatever, and you're making me like, you're showing me what the process is going to be like, and helping me get ready for what treatment's going to be like, and sharing stuff so that you don't feel as alone. Because I feel like getting a cancer diagnosis, especially at a young age, and I'm not trying to say that like it's not hard to get a cancer diagnosis at an old age, because I'm sure it is. I just don't know as much about that. But it's very hard to get a cancer diagnosis at a young age, in my opinion, because all of your friends and peers are like not having death look them in the face every day and not trying to fight for their life constantly. So, yeah, so it does feel lonely because there's no one really that understands what I'm going through. I understand how this like comes across and how like people don't understand that, because when you normally get sick, you go to the doctor and the doctor says, here, take this medicine, it'll cure your sickness, and then that's it. That's all. There's only one thing. And so that's what people are kind of expecting. But it's just so not what it is for cancer. So when I come on here and I say like, oh, a doctor suggested I remove my ovaries, and I say I'm not doing that, then everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're killing yourself. When like, I'm not, because there's other options. There's different paths, and there's different paths that can lead to a cure. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, yeah. So it makes me kind of seem like I'm being reckless and going against medical advice all the time, which is, I think, why I get so much hate from people saying that I'm reckless and going against medical advice all the time. When I am, because I am going against what one doctor says, but I'm not going against what another doctor says. So I really am, it's true. I am not listening to doctors, but I'm also completely listening to doctors. You see what I'm saying? So if one person thinks that I'm a crazy moron, there's always gonna be someone on the other side that thinks I'm like picking the obvious option, and that's fine. Like it's fine, and it's an interesting conversation, and I think it's important to have conversations like that because it really shows how different people are, and I think that's good to show our differences sometimes and to have conversations and to try to understand how some people think, and that it's okay that if you don't agree. So like that's what I'm trying to explain, why I do what I do, because people recently are like thinking that I need to stop reading comments and stop responding and having conversations, and I just need to focus on my health. But it's like, this is why I do what I do. I do it to explain the different options and to start conversations like this, and it doesn't bother me to get people saying like, oh, I'd rather do this and I'd rather do that, and you're a moron, because obviously people are going to call me a moron. Like, it's fine. So yeah, I'd probably get way less of that if I just shared my story, told you the one thing that I was doing, and then everyone would be like, oh yeah, duh, obviously that's why she's doing that, because she has to. And like, if I share the other side, then obviously I'm gonna get people that think that I'm dumb, and that's fine too. Yeah. Okay, so I thought that this would be fun. I'm excited about this, to go through use myself as an example and go through certain medical decisions and explain how I went against the doctors and how I didn't do what doctors said and how I also did do what doctors said. So the first thing that I actually, it was actually one of the very first things when I first was diagnosed with cancer. I went to my oncologist and he was like explaining everything, and he was like, hey, if you ever think you might want to have kids someday, you should consider freezing your eggs. And I did do that. And he also said, like, because chemo can damage your ovaries and can put you into a permanent menopause, so it's like a safety net. So like, if your ovaries stop working, you can still use your eggs and whatever. And he did mention that it is an option to remove your ovaries, but that's another option to do ovarian suppression with things like Zoladex or Lupron to shut down your ovaries if you're not going to remove them. For people that have hormone-driven cancer like me. it's a good thing to do one of those two things because my body's making estrogen, which feeds my cancer. So my original doctor told me that that was an option. He did give it to me as an option, but he told me that he recommended I don't do that because I can't put my ovaries back once I take them out. And he's very big on quality of life, so if I had horrible side effects from removing my ovaries, then I can't put them back in and take away those side effects. But if I just suppress them with medication, then I can go off that medication and try a different treatment option. And yeah, so my original doctor told me, keep your ovaries, basically. Just do suppression. And that was basically the only advice that I had at that point. So at that point, I decided to do that. But I recently went to a top cancer center and had a consult with somebody who told me that I should be removing my ovaries. And so that doctor has told me I should remove them. So I now have two doctors telling me two different things. One said I should probably keep them. Other one said I should probably remove them. But still, they're both providing them to me as options. So I'm 50-50 on that one, and I chose to keep my ovaries so far. Down the line, I might choose to remove them, like once I'm older and I'm closer to menopause age. The side effects wouldn't be as bad removing ovaries, so I might consider it then. But right now, I'm choosing not to do that. And so basically, yeah, I'm going against one doctor, listening to another. Okay, another treatment option or decision that I had to make was when I was getting Taxol chemotherapy, I was supposed to get 12 rounds of Taxol chemotherapy. That is what is medically recommended for my type of cancer at that time, back in 2019. I got 4 rounds of AC and then I was supposed to get 12 rounds of Taxol. But I didn't. I actually only got 9 rounds of Taxol. I stopped after 9 because I was having neuropathy in my fingers and my toes. And so it was the advice of my oncologist at the time to stop because he had seen people before have permanent neuropathy and he didn't want me to have any permanent nerve damage. And that the Taxol had done a lot of stuff already because we had seen on scans that stuff had shrunk. So it was his advice to stop Taxol. And again, that was the only advice I received at the time, so I stopped the Taxol after 9 rounds. I did listen to my doctor that time. And I didn't have another doctor tell me that I should have continued Taxol, but obviously doctors think that you should because 12 rounds is the recommended dose of Taxol that you should get. So I did kind of go against some medical advice by stopping Taxol early. And that's kind of what you have to weigh when you're doing cancer treatment is you don't want to have permanent side effects and you don't want the treatment to cause permanent side effects, but you do want the treatment to work. So it's hard to decide when to stop things. Another decision I had to make was a mastectomy versus a lumpectomy. This is a very interesting one because when I first was diagnosed with cancer, the first person who told me was a breast surgeon because she did my biopsy. And she recommended like the first day that I should get a complete double mastectomy because it was the most drastic option and it would take away the breast tissue. And so she recommended complete mastectomy. My oncologist told me either one is fine. You can do a lumpectomy or you can do a mastectomy. Probably people your age are leaning more toward mastectomy for younger women because people try to do more drastic things with younger women because we want to get them to survive as long as possible. But you can do either one. So he was kind of, I guess, leaning toward mastectomy also a little bit. And then there's this thing that I don't know if I've discussed it much, but there's this thing called tumor board where my oncologist takes my case to like a tumor board where there's a bunch of doctors and they all discuss different patients and what they should do for different patients. So he took my case to those doctors and they discussed and they were all like, yeah, she should probably get a double mastectomy. And this is the interesting thing is that a bunch of doctors agreed that I should get a double mastectomy and I was kind of leaning toward that way. There was reasons that I was hesitating because I didn't really want to get a double mastectomy because that was a very drastic option, and people can have like lots of problems with implants and more pain and whatever. So I didn't really want it. But the funny thing is that later on in my treatment, it was brought up at tumor board again, and everyone went the other way. They all decided, no, you should get a lumpectomy instead. Not all of them, probably it was a vote, but like the majority of them then decided lumpectomy was the better option. And I have a whole video about this, about why I chose to get a lumpectomy instead of a double mastectomy. So you can go watch that video if you're interested in that. But that was a very interesting one, that it was something that like a lot of them agreed that I should get a double mastectomy, and then they just like shifted their mindset. And then I ended up getting a lumpectomy and not a double mastectomy. Okay, so another thing that I'm going to talk about is my decision to get pregnant. And this is like a hot topic. Oh my goodness, gonna stir the pots, because no doctor is going to tell you, yes, you should absolutely get pregnant. It's going to help your cause, like, because that doesn't make any sense, right? But my doctor was very supportive and even did say to me that there is evidence that getting pregnant and breastfeeding is good, and was good for me. But I did come off hormone therapy like a little bit early to get pregnant. I wasn't coming off of hormone therapy to get pregnant. I was coming off of hormone therapy because the hormone therapy was awful. And my doctor supported that also. But yeah, so no doctor is going to tell you, yes, you should absolutely get pregnant. But my doctor did support me and help me do it safely, and said that it was a pretty good time for me to get pregnant, because he did know that it was my goal to have a family one day. So he supported that. But so I don't know what you would say. Like, I don't think I would say he was for me getting pregnant, like put him on that side. But it's not like he was like super against me getting pregnant. So kind of neutral. But I did have this new doctor, this new consult, basically tell me that I shouldn't have gotten pregnant. So if I had talked to her at that time, she probably would have said, no, don't get pregnant. So yeah, I probably went against doctor's advice, because she would have said not to get pregnant, and I did. So there's an example of me going against medical advice. This one is a fun one. This is a recent one. So I originally was on a clinical trial after my cancer came back, and I had the decision to do the clinical trial or do the chemo pill option or do hormone therapy. And there were 3 options, and my oncologist really thought that I should do the clinical trial. I had a radiation oncologist that was treating my back, a place on my spine that had metastasis. He really thought that I should do the clinical trial. My oncologist called 2 other oncologists that are at like more prestigious institutions. Sorry, I'm back. The camera dies again. He called 2 other oncologists, and they both agreed I should do this trial. So how many is that? That is 4 doctors who said I should start this clinical trial. When I went to go see this doctor for the consult, she basically was like, I don't really like clinical trials. You probably shouldn't have done that. You should have just done hormone therapy. That's 4 versus 1. So 1 doctor told me you shouldn't do that, and 4 doctors told me I should do that. So I have another video where I talked about how I went to go see this doctor, and everyone was like coming at me saying like I wasn't listening to this one doctor, and I should definitely listen to doctors, and I should stop thinking that I'm better than her and like listen to her, when like this is why I'm not completely listening to her, because I had 4 doctors that said clinical trial was the way to go, and 1 doctor say don't do the clinical trial. So I did the clinical trial, and I agreed that it was a good thing. Then we're at my most recent treatment decision, which is I had to come off the clinical trial because while it like reduced my pain a lot and it helped in that sense, I did have a little bit of progression on a scan, so I couldn't like stay on it ethically because it could be hurting me and not helping me. So then I had to make a decision whether to do hormone targeted therapy again or to do a chemo pill. And I had my oncologist tell me to do the chemo pill. I had the 2 other doctors that he consulted agree that I should do the chemo pill because it is tolerated really well and it's very effective. So I had 3 doctors say I should do the chemo pill. I went to this other doctor for the consult and she told me I should not do that. I should do hormone therapy and targeted therapy. 3 versus 1 again. This time I listened to the 1 doctor. I went against 3 because I feel like any doctor that didn't know me probably would have recommended hormone therapy. And the reason that my oncologist didn't recommend hormone therapy was because he knew me very well and knew that I tolerated it so badly. So he was trying to come up with a different option for me that works pretty much as well and is a very good option. Like I said, there's so many different options here. And like, it's not like me not doing like hormone therapy or me not doing the chemo pill is going to just like all of a sudden like I'm going to die because I didn't do what 1 doctor said. It really is that there's just different options out there. And so I ended up doing the hormone therapy now, and that's what I'm going with right now to try to see if that works. Because that 1 doctor that recommended the hormone therapy made a good point, and the good point was that chemo can mutate the cancer cells and make it so that it's less effective, that makes treatment against it less effective. And also, if I don't do the chemo pill now, then I have it to use for later. So if the hormone therapy doesn't work, then I have another option. So that's why I'm doing the hormone therapy now. So yeah, interesting. I thought that was interesting to go back and use myself as an example and kind of explain how, yeah, I don't listen to doctors sometimes, but I also listen to doctors sometimes. And sometimes you just have to like weigh the pluses and minuses and decide what's going to work best for you. And take what the doctors are saying into account. And I feel like I do a pretty good job of that. I mean, I know a bunch of you are gonna say that I don't do a good job of that, because like I said, some people are going to think I'm a moron and some people are gonna think that I'm like a genius. And it all just depends on you and where you are in your life and the kinds of things that you want for yourself. And it's okay to have different opinions. Thanks for watching. Oh, do you guys want a hair update? This is my hair growing back. Do you like it? A lot of it didn't completely like come out, like it was still growing on Taxol, but like you can see like the sides here, like more of it came out of the sides than on like the very top of the head. I don't know. I need to like, I'm probably gonna need to like cut it all back again because it's like growing at different rates, but okay, that's all I have. Leave questions in the comments. Criticize me in the comments more if you want. I especially love the people who are like, you are so annoying. I hate watching you and I hate your attitude. I'm just like, why are you here? I especially love those comments. Those are my favorite. Please leave some of those. Okay, that's all. Bye.